Hello, everyone. Amanda Williams, MD, MPH, here with you today. And I want to talk about 5-HTP. This is such a unique supplement, and for so many people, they are unaware of all of its multiple benefits. When we recognize how beneficial this can be for the entire body, oftentimes people will add this to their routine. So I want to talk to you in some detail about the way 5-HTP may help to enhance and support your overall supplement routine. So first, what is 5-HTP? So 5-HTP stands for 5-hydroxytryptophan. And what do we know about tryptophan? We know that that's an amino acid. So we know that 5-HTP is this precursor. So we have the amino acid tryptophan, and then it makes the 5-HTP, and then the 5-HTP makes serotonin. And then we can go even one step further along that pathway, and then we have melatonin. So when we think about the utilization of 5-HTP as part of a supplementation routine, this is why it makes a lot of sense because we can see how it can be so diverse across the board. So 5-HTP is 5-hydroxytryptophan. Hence, it's helping to support the manufacturing of serotonin. And what is serotonin? This is our very important neurotransmitter that helps to support our overall mood. So we consider that kind of our happy neurotransmitter. Certainly, most people are aware of the many different medications that are out there, prescription medications that target serotonin and serotonin's production in the body. So we look at the SSRIs, for example, the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor drugs. So those are all of those medications that people can be put on if they are experiencing things such as low mood or generalized anxiety disorder, even just for slight anxiousness too. Sometimes doctors will prescribe a SSRI as opposed to utilizing a benzodiazepine, for example. So we know that these are widely used across the spectrum. However, we also know that they come with a whole lengthy list of potential side effects that oftentimes people are not real big fans of. So there's certainly sexual side effects that many people can experience when put on an SSRI. So many times people are looking for ways that they can support and enhance their overall mood, as well as help to support sleep, as well as to support digestion and appetite. So, all of these different ways in which 5-HTP can be really, really beneficial. So, how is it that 5-HTP is actually working? When we look at the normal process of tryptophan and its conversion into serotonin, we know that 5-HTP is that rate limiting step. So we have to have that conversion of 5-HTP. And we know 5-HTP does a really wonderful job crossing the blood brain barrier. So if we have a deficient amount of serotonin in our brain, this can affect, obviously, our mood, but it can also impact our sleep quality. So by taking the 5-HTP, this helps the body in terms of making additional serotonin, which allows that pathway to move much smoother. Well, interestingly enough, when we think about serotonin, the actual neurotransmitter itself, we have to recognize that 90% of our serotonin is actually gut manufactured. Only about 10% is located in the brain, even though we so much correlate serotonin's impact in terms of our mood. So, people who have issues such as irritable bowel or other GI dysfunction oftentimes can look at serotonin being a precipitating factor to many of those different symptoms. So, for people who have those problems, they will find that when they take 5-HTP, it oftentimes can really help to mitigate the impact of those negative, kind of icky belly feelings that people get because we're helping to support proper serotonin activity within the gut. And there's a lot of complex science that goes along with this. When we look at serotonin within the gut, we know that our microbiome plays a really critical role with this. So, this is why we always talk about the importance of things like probiotic and having healthy fiber in our diet because we know that those gut bacteria really, in order for so many different functions in our body, they have to be very, very healthy. So, having the healthy bacteria helps with the proper release of serotonin. So, all of these different things come into play. So, if someone were to be taking 5-HTP, say for example, you say, you know what, I just can't seem to wind down at night and I have a really difficult time falling asleep. So, would something like 5-HTP be beneficial for me? And I would certainly say Most certainly, yes. And how much should you be taking? Well, this is always that $1 million question. How much 5-HTP should someone take? Well, it really kind of depends on the individual, and it also depends on what you're actually utilizing 5-HTP for. So, say, for example, you have that issue with sleep, then I would advise probably somewhere between 150 to 200 milligrams of 5-HTP about an hour before you are hoping to fall asleep. And this really helps with that process of that 5-HTP conversion into serotonin and hence that conversion into melatonin. So to have a more restful night's sleep, it allows the brain to kind of tune out from all of the hectic things that may have occurred throughout your day. So that's one way. Now, I always say with 5-HTP, you can start low and slow. It's always the best way for, generally speaking, for most supplements. See how your body is reacting to it. You may find that 100 milligrams is sufficient to help to support healthier, more restful sleep. Now, say, for example, your issue is mood. Then, what I would advise is taking about 100 milligrams of 5-HTP in the morning and then another 100 milligrams in the evening. So total of 200, but in a split dose. So taking 100 milligrams in the morning and then another 100 milligrams in the evening. And oftentimes this can create a significant amount of balance when it comes to proper serotonin release. And this can be really, really important for those who do feel like they have kind of low mood. And the really nice thing about 5-HTP is usually once people start to use this as part of a regular routine, they can really see those benefits relatively fast. So this is why I always say you can kind of play around with how much in terms of the milligrams. So you may want to start off with 50 milligrams twice a day, or you may start with that 100 milligrams twice a day. You can kind of play around with it, which is really nice. Now, let's say that the issue comes down to a GI problem. And maybe you feel like you always have kind of that ickiness in your gut. And maybe it's kind of, you can call it like a nervous belly, for example. Then what I would advise is doing 50 milligrams 3 times per day. And ideally, you could do this every time you eat. So 50 milligrams with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we oftentimes will see that that can create a significant amount of resolution once again. So there's many different ways and different reasons as to why we would utilize 5-HTP. Maybe we're a little anxious. Maybe we have a hard time sleeping. Maybe we have that sudden ick belly that hits us from time to time. Maybe we do know that we have low mood and it's really impacting our overall sense of well-being. So a lot of different ways that we can use 5-HTP. I certainly encourage you to talk to one of our nutritional experts when it comes to how much you should take and when you should take 5-HTP. But definitely go to our website, invitehealth.com, and check out the 5-HTP, 5-hydroxytryptophan. Remember, we're supporting not only serotonin, but we're also supporting melatonin. So many different ways that 5-HTP can be beneficial for you. Now, I will be back with you in a few more days to talk about more wonderful nutrients available at Invite Health. Thank you.